Our next performer knows something about making a point. He is an award-winning public speaker and an author and advertiser. He's hoping to add stand-up comic to his list. Would you please welcome Mr. Pat Rocchi?
Good evening. And it's true, my name is Rocky. It's spelled R-O-C-C-H-I, but it's pronounced like Rocky. And let me tell you something, it has been a great name to have over the years, especially about 40 years ago when the movie came out. Everybody associated me with that movie. Everybody played the music for me every time I came by. I had people talking to me all the time. Hey, Rocky. How you doing? Where's Apollo Creed? You're going to get him the next time, you know? Yeah, that's right, I will. That was so much fun for about 4 months. Then we lost the spark. Hey, Rocky, how are you? Where's Paulie? Is he pounding meat in the freezer? Hey, he's right here. You want to pound this meat? Leave me alone. When it was time to get married, my wife wanted to use the Rocky theme for our wedding. She said, you know, when we come in, why don't we use the Rocky theme? Because, you know, it's Mr. and Mrs. Rocky, and that's who we'll be. We'll be Mr. and Mrs. Rocky. So I said, okay, I went with it. I went with the theme the whole way. We hired an announcer, a ring announcer, to have us come into the hall. And now, presenting for the first time, as husband and wife, Mr. and Mrs. Rocky, Rocky, Rocky. Everybody got into it. The wedding party ran up the Art Museum steps. We toasted with a glass of raw eggs. I got too into it. When my wife put the cake in my face, I decked her. A few years later, we had our son, Rocky 2, the sequel. Oh, what a pain in the ass that kid is. I'll tell you something. This kid always said the wrong thing to the wrong person at the wrong time. He was at school. He was in the 2nd grade, 7 years old. Goes up to the teacher and he says, hey, looking good in that dress. It was a Catholic school. And let me tell you something, the nuns don't appreciate that. Although I have to admit, Sister Mary Barbie really looked hot in that habit. But I knew what this meant. I knew what this meant. It meant that I had to talk to them about the facts of life. And let me tell you something, no parent wants that. They all try to avoid it. My father copped on me with it. He gave me this baloney growing up. A lot of guys heard this. If you have any problems or if you have any questions, you just come to me. And they expect that for the next 35 years you're not going to ask them anything. So I tested him one time. Hey, Dad, how come I get a boner when I read the Playboys in your nightstand? Get out of here. Go for some Super Six. You know, it's tough right now with kids and television being as it is. They see more things than I've ever seen when I was growing up. When I saw the letters ED when I was growing up, I thought that meant Mr. Ed was about to come on. And believe me, I would be much more comfortable explaining a talking horse than erectile dysfunction to me. But I had a plan. We were alone in the house. No distractions. I turned to my son and I said, so I understand you've been talking a lot about sex lately. He froze. Yeah. What do you know about sex? Now he gets a look on his face of terror. It was a look like he had just robbed the liquor cabinet. Remember, he was 7 years old. That was coming in about 8 years. I know some things. Really, what happens when a man and a woman have sex? Well, they go into a room and they take their clothes off and they look at each other. And I looked at him and I thought, grasshopper, that's not the way it goes. Let me explain it to you now. And I have these visual aids to go over with you. He said I'm in communications. I had handouts ready for him. Once a month, a lady prepares in her body to have a baby. That's called menstruation. You're familiar with this. This is when mom throws the pots and pans around the kitchen every few minutes. Your body will change. You'll be experiencing new fluids that you've never experienced before. Mom and I will know about them because you'll be changing the sheets on the bed before we ask you to. When you get excited, blood will flow and fill these blood vessels. And this will happen to you more often than the other kids because you're Italian. Thank you to the Italians. As I'm talking to him, he's getting a look of terror on his face. And I could see the wheels turning. And I could tell what he was thinking. First of all, he was horrified by what I was telling him. Then, as he looked at me, I knew what he was thinking. He's saying, and these things you're talking about, they involve my mother? I'll kill you in your sleep, you rat bastard. But it all worked out. We have a good relationship today. He actually talks to me. He did tell me that the pictures traumatized him, but other than that, it's good. But any parents are here tonight, I have some advice for you. What you should do is teach your kids the old-fashioned way that God intended in America. You take your kids, you open the door, you let them out like you would a stray cat. You let them go and let them learn it in the street the way they're supposed to. Just hope that they don't come home with any kittens. Now, I want to tell you a true story before I go. This is an absolutely true story, and it involves my sister-in-law and her son, my nephew. My sister-in-law is one of the sweetest people in the world. But one time she was out doing errands for Christmas. And as she's driving, somebody cuts her off. She didn't like it, and she says under her breath, "Oh yeah, and a Merry fucking Christmas to you, too." Okay. So she goes and runs her errands, she goes to the mall. She comes out of the store, and her son sees Santa Claus. You're ahead of me, aren't you? Sees Santa Claus with the bell and with the pot. And he says, Mommy, I would put money in the pot for Santa Claus. And she says, of course. Of course she said that. She's a nice person. She gives him money. He runs up to Santa Claus. He puts it in the pot. Santa Claus looks at him and says, "Ho, ho, ho, thank you, little boy, and Merry Christmas to you." And he said, "Yes, and a fucking Merry Christmas to you, too." He is a sophomore in college, and she has not shown her face at that mall since. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Pat Rocchi.